We would like to welcome you to our first virtual Kindergarten 101 webinar. And so we're so excited that you could join us tonight. First of all, we would like to introduce the people that we have as our panelists tonight. I am Megan Curtis. I am the Director of Elementary Teaching and Learning. We have Allison Smiley. Oops, I'm sorry. Let me go on. Whoops. We have Trail Kelly, who is the principal at Pleasant Grove. We have Ron Seiner, who is the principal at North Grove Elementary. We have Megan Krukemeyer, who is school counseling coordinator. Stacy Conrad, who is moderating and kind of doing the behind the scenes for us today. Oh, here she is. And then we have Heather Trammell, is Pleasant Grove Elementary kindergarten teacher. Christina Negri is Center Grove Elementary kindergarten teacher. Allison Smiley, Maple Grove kindergarten teacher. Melissa Gardner, North Grove Elementary kindergarten teacher. Ashley Miller, Sugar Grove kindergarten teacher. And Sugar Grove, and then Candace Veach from Walnut Grove Elementary. So we'd like to thank our panelists for all joining us tonight and being here for this hour so that we can help inform our kindergarten teachers or kindergarten families of what is happening. First of all, we'd like to share with you or ask the question, if you have enrolled in kindergarten, if you could find the chat button down at the bottom of your Zoom and just kind of give us a raise of your hand or a thumbs up, that will kind of help us know how many of you have already enrolled and registered for kindergarten. That will be helpful to us as we're looking. So wow, yeah, we have so many, which is excellent. This is so good. This is great. So we hope tonight is informational for you. As we proceed through tonight's webinar, if you have questions, Stacy Conrad, who is our communications director, she is going to be moderating and watching that chat room, and then we will be able to answer those questions as we go through. And I will ask some of our panelists if they are able to answer those questions. We're hoping that we can answer most of them through our presentation this evening. But if there is something that we do miss, please do ask that in the chat. We do want to make sure that we have answered all of those questions and you feel comfortable. And if there's something that we still need to give to you, we will make sure that we do that. So this is our panelists, this is our group, and let's go ahead and get started. So first of all, here at Center Grove, we are super excited, and our vision is that all students receive an exceptional educational experience. So what does that mean for us here at Center Grove? Well, first of all, that is our administrators and our teachers. We want to give the best every single day to our students that walk through our doors. And so we have the 3E experience, where students feel safe, respected, and well cared for in our schools. I always look at kindergarten as it's their first educational experience. And so we want our teachers to just really love on our kids and make their first entry into kindergarten as their experience to be such a positive experience as they have 12 more years with us. And so we want them to just love school, and we want to make that a very positive experience for them. And so we want them to thrive and feel very safe and loved and cared for. And I feel like our kindergarten teachers just do an amazing job of that. And so we are extremely thankful for the group that we have. Kindergarten is a special place to be. I love going in those rooms because you see such growth in kindergarten. And so that's super exciting. And I think you'll hear that this evening as you get to hear from our teachers. So our mission here at Center Grove is that we want to develop knowledgeable, confident, and responsible citizens through inspirational and innovative learning opportunities. And so we want students to feel challenged and engaged in lots of opportunities that they get to experience throughout their schooling career. They're going to be growing and thriving as learners and citizens. And we're going to celebrate those achievements and prepare them for the future. So that's super exciting for them as we get to continue in their journey of education. Again, we have 6 elementary schools, and all of them are represented tonight, which is crazy exciting. And then we have also our school counseling is here representing. We have school counselors and social workers in every single building. And so you'll get to hear a little bit about that and how that operates here in our buildings. Some kindergarten statistics. So we operate on a 12-to-1 student to staff ratio in our kindergarten classrooms, which is excellent because we have fairly small classrooms for our kindergarten and sizes, or kindergarten classrooms, and we have about 23 in kindergarten. And so that's exciting. We have a lot of help. We get students get lots of support within their classrooms. You're going to get to hear about the day and how an academic day is set up for the students, and then what does that look like from the time that they enter our doors until the time that they come home to you as parents. And then here at Center Grove, we have a 95% high school graduation rate. So when they come to us as kindergartners, we are going to try to prepare them all the way through along that journey throughout their schooling career. We have dedicated persons that are here to help and support in lots of different areas, all the way from school counselors, paraprofessionals, our principals, our administrators, all the way here to central office. Lots of things in place to help prepare and support them. We also have dedicated PTO people. In every building, there is a PTO that is going to support your schools. They want to prepare and give opportunities to students and bring back money and give them supports through different programs or different things that the school needs. So if that's playground equipment, that might be something that they're looking at raising funds for. So they will put different items in. That's an opportunity that they're going to talk about. We will talk about later, in which you can volunteer for some of those things that you get to do in the building. So I want to first turn it over to our kindergarten teachers, which I'm sure they're very excited to share. They have all broken up about what is it like in the day of a kindergartner. And so I am going to kick it off with Heather Trammell. Heather Trammell, Heather, will you raise your hand for me, please? Heather is at Pleasant Grove Elementary, and she is our kindergarten district grade level chair. So she represents our kindergarten team across the district in letting us know what the needs are for the kindergarten teachers. And she does an excellent job of that. And so she will be representing their team, and she'll share a few other things about some kindergarten assessment. So I am going to kick it off. Actually, Ashley Miller is going to start talking about the community building.
Hi, everyone. I'm Ashley. A little bit about community building.
Ashley, I think you might be on mute.
Nope, I can hear.
Oh, sorry. Okay.
Are we good?
The volume, yeah.
Okay.
Sorry.
Just a little bit about community building. All of our kindergarten teachers across the district are really passionate about making sure that our classrooms are a community, especially with us being their first year in school. We really want to make sure that they feel supported and loved, not just by us, but by their classmates as well. So across the district, we usually start our day with some sort of morning meeting. It looks a little bit different in every classroom, a little bit different across each building, but we really make it a point to make sure that our day starts in a community time. Where we go through the day, anything that's new and coming up that would be unexpected, or just things that the kids should expect. Some of us do like a daily mantra to work on positive self-talk. We talk about compliments. We'll sing songs, all that kind of stuff in morning meeting to build that community and really encourage share time. Some of us will do a morning question just to get to know the kids. Each day they can share something new, or they can, answer a question, so we get to know them a little bit better. And then the district has done a really good job of creating community building slide decks each month. So they have actually laid out an entire plan for us as well. Each month is a different topic, and it has short little videos and guiding questions and notes that we can use to talk about different skills. I know right now we're talking about stress management all in April. So they have little videos, and they have questions that we get to ask and strategies that we get to talk about in a whole community circle. To really build that community, ask those hard questions, let the kids have a safe, open space to share, and just to build some life skills that they need as well. So we've found that time is really helpful just for building a class community and the class family.
Heather is going to share about our academic blocks. Heather, we are not able to hear you. No. That's all right. We'll see if we can get you fixed. We'll come back to you, Heather. you see if you can get that fixed, and then we'll just move on and we'll come back to the academic piece. And then, so we'll just skip over to Allison. Allison, do you want to share about the technology?
Yes. So technology in Center Grove, we're very fortunate to have a lot of wonderful technology in our classrooms. We have document cameras, we have big smartboard TVs, if you will. And for kindergarten, we have access to one-to-one iPads. They we'll use those here at school. If for some reason we may have to do an e-learning day and you do not have a device at home, those are usually able to come home. Your teacher will get that information from you early in the school year. We try to use them in the classroom pretty sparingly. We know that too much technology is not a great thing. So when we do use them, we try to have specific activities or a purpose in mind, to be mindful that they're not just on and, doing whatever they want to or playing around. So we do try to use them to the best of our ability, just for a specific purpose. Kindergarten will occasionally use Center Grove's online portal. It's called Canvas. If you have older children, they also use it in the upper elementary and secondary education. If the need arises for us to have an e-learning day, they will be able to do their lessons online there. And you'll find out all about e-learning and things as we get the school year kicked off. But we do use it, and usually the schools will have a practice session in the fall to teach your kindergartner how they will access the information in case we aren't able to attend school. So.
Allison,
Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can, Heather. Hang on one second. Yay, good job. Allison, can I ask one question just for clarification, just because I know it might
Absolutely.
come up. As a parent, if I'm a parent of a brand new kindergartner who's never had to use the iPad or technology, and you referenced our Canvas and other ways that they would do that, is there information that comes home for the parent that would help them know how they can support their child at home with the technology piece?
Yes, they will get information from the school at the beginning, not necessarily right at the beginning of the school year.
Right.
There's a lot of things that go on at the beginning of the year, but as the school year gets going, they will get information from the school about how their child will log in. And usually the kindergarten teachers love to send out a little note exactly and kind of walk them through some of the steps that may be challenging. We also, during those days, I know it wasn't really about e-learning, but during those days, teachers have office hours, so you'll be able to reach out to your child's teacher and get help too if you're having an issue with anything that is on there.
Perfect. We do have a question that is coming in, and it is related to the technology piece. The question is, are kindergartners required to have an iPad or a computer of their own? They are not required to have a computer or an iPad of their own. The school does supply that. That is something that we will be giving to them. And like Allison said, those iPads do stay at school most of the time, unless we are predicting that there's going to be some opportunity where there's going to be weather and that we think that there might be an opportunity that there's going to be a cancellation or a delay, and they would need to have those at home. But otherwise, those are staying at school for the most part. But they are not required to have one of their own. That is provided here by our school district. So that is accurate.
And
So.
Mrs. Curtis, I would like to add on to there
Yeah.
that really they need to use the school iPad, the school device.
Correct.
Our device is the one that has all of the correct apps that they will need. They're connected to any feedback and platforms for the teacher to be able to work with the students, and we're able to monitor those. So really, their own devices should be staying at home, and they will be using a school-issued iPad.
Correct. Thank you, Mr. Signer. Okay, Heather, I think we can jump back to you now, since it looks like you have your audio working now.
Yeah, sorry about that. Thank you.
Okay.
So yes, I'm Heather Trammell. I'm going to be covering the academic piece of your child's day. Reading, writing, math, and then science and social studies. So the state provides learning standards for each subject and grade, which the district has created curriculum maps to ensure that those standards are taught. All 6 elementaries follow the same maps, and that guarantees that our students across the corporation are receiving the same high quality instruction. For reading, that's 90 minutes a day where we focus on reading, foundational reading skills. We use a program called UFLI, UFLI, that deals in phonics and phonemic awareness. Students will learn how to sound out, which is called decode, and then spell and write words, which is called encode. We have daily interactive read alouds where we're building vocabulary and comprehension. We have mini lessons followed by independent practicing of those reading skills. For writing, we are about 30 minutes a day. We integrate that with reading, sometimes to support that sentence formation and writing fluency. A lot of practicing of upper and lowercase letters with correct formation. Then we also do more creative writing where students are writing to express stories and information. We also practice drawing and illustrating to support our written ideas. And then finally for math, we have about 60 minutes a day for that. A lot of hands-on engaging math lessons that are aligned with our grade level standards. We emphasize number sense, counting, addition, subtraction, and problem solving. Basically, we want to build a very solid foundation for their future math success. And then science and social studies, that is incorporated into our reading and our math time.
Perfect. Thank you. And to add on to your science and social studies, I just thought about something. Our kindergartners will get to go visit the Innovation Center and do some STEM activities. They go at least one time a year. Next year, I think we are looking at them going over twice potentially. So we're looking at what that looks like, but they'll go do STEM over at the Innovation Center, which is super cool. They'll get on buses and head over there and do different Project Lead the Way kind of activities. So that's a super cool thing for them. To talk about our specials, or I'm sorry, lunch and recess, Melissa Gardner from North Grove is going to talk about lunch and recess.
Hi there. So I'll start first by talking about recess. Each elementary school has 2 recesses, and typically we have one earlier in the day and then one later in the day. And all of the kindergarten classes go together at the same time for recess. Just a few things just to put out there. When we have recess, closed-toed shoes. We like your child to have closed-toed shoes and shoes with a strap on the back just for safety purposes. So that is really all I have about recess. So we will now talk about lunch. And so we have in our kindergarten, we'll go to the cafeteria and we have 30 minutes for lunch. And they will get to pick an entree, and they will also get to pick at least 1 fruit and 1 vegetable. This is if they're getting the school lunch, and they can pick a max of 2 fruits and vegetables. And you'll be able to find the lunch menu online for every month. I know a lot of time people have questions about food allergies. So if your child has a food allergy, you need to make sure the school nurse and the classroom teacher are aware of the food allergy, and you must have a doctor's note for the nurse. Go ahead and give that to the nurse. If your child does have an allergy, there will be a note in their file so then the cafeteria workers are aware of that allergy as they go through the line. This is just a good idea to start practicing, and now is a great time to practice. Some kids bring school lunch, but everyone has snack. So it's a great idea to start practicing opening food containers and packages. So if you pick out the lunchbox and whatever it is you're going to pack their snack or their lunch in, it's a great idea to start practicing that now so that they can become more independent. Even with snacks, like if you have chip bags or goldfish bags, having them practice opening those, There are monitors who walk around to the cafeteria and they help the students if they need help. But there's one monitor and there's quite a few students. So just helping them learn that ahead of time so they can become more independent on that will make things run a lot smoother.
Great. Thank you for
Mhm.
that. The next thing up, we have a couple of questions in the chat. What time, one of them, there's a couple of questions about homework and I'll come back to those two, but we do have one specifically around lunch. What time is lunch typically held? And I believe, and principals and then teachers, you guys can probably help this, but I think at every building, it might be just a little bit different. The times are always a little bit different depending on the school. So I'll let you guys kind of answer that.
Okay, I can start right now. And our schedule, there's always some fluctuation from year to year. Right now in kindergarten at North Grove, our lunch is at 10:40. So we do have an early lunch, but we also then have a snack in the afternoon.
And that 10:40 time is based on a 9 o'clock start time. Next year's school year will be starting at 9:20. So hypothetically, even if we kept the same exact schedule as this year, it would still be at least 20 minutes later. But really, I think all of our schools with the new school days next year, we're all reevaluating our schedules for the day. So, but I will say that we usually try to prioritize having kindergarten as one of the earliest lunches of the school day.
Would that be accurate for most of you guys? Yeah, that's what I thought.
Yes.
Yeah, perfect. Okay, thank you. Okay, there's a question too about lunch. Are parents or family members able to come eat lunch with the child? So the answer to that is that we're going to get to that question a little bit later because you have to have a background check. And so we'll talk about that. Mr. Steiner or Mr. Kelly, would you like to answer that question a little bit more specifically? Because every school you guys have rules about coming and eating lunch.
Right. No, absolutely. Around COVID is the time that we'd stopped the opportunity for people to eat lunch. Now with the schools as large as they are, my cafeteria is maxed out. I don't have space. From a safety security standpoint, we don't have a space for parents to eat in isolation with their child. So at the current time, all the elementaries do not have people coming in to eat lunch with the children during the school day.
Okay, great. Thank you so much. We are going to continue to move on. I am going to come back to all of these questions. We're going to do them at the very end so that we can kind of keep moving. We still have small or specials. Christina is going to talk to us about our specials. Oops. Yep, there you go. Okay.
Hello?
Yep, you're good.
Working? Okay,
Yep.
very good. Hello. Thank you for joining us this evening. We do have 5 different special classes that we visit throughout the week. So we have Tech Lab, Library, and SEL are combined. So one week your child will visit the library for the full time, and then the other week they will go to the social emotional learning class. And those two kind of tie in together. Then they also have gym, art, and music. For each of the specials rotations, they have their own set of standards and curriculum that they follow and work through while they visit each of those classes. Each of those classes is about 45 minutes each day, and the teacher will communicate which class happens on which day. So that way you're always prepared for when your child has gym. That way they can be, dressed for gym class and have the appropriate shoes. And then for Tech Lab in the classrooms, we have iPads. However, in the Tech Lab, they also have access to desktop computers. So they kind of get access to both the iPads and computers as well.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. And then finally, we have small group instruction, and Candace Veach at Walnut Grove is going to share about small group instruction.
Yes. Hi, everyone. Small group instruction is something that I'm really passionate about in my classroom. And I've talked with the other teachers on the panel, and we all do small groups roughly the same way. They happen during our math and reading time. And this is just an opportunity for us to pull over a smaller group of students to provide a smaller, intimate setting. These groups are based on academic need. So if there's something they need a little extra help in, we're able to give them that extra help. And if they're just really excelling in the topic that we are teaching at that time, then that's when we get to take them beyond and kind of explore a little deeper and do more with them. So it really allows the teacher to provide some targeted support and extend the learning. And in those small group instructions, we find that students are more engaged, there's less distractions, and the teacher is able to give immediate feedback and better support, because our attention is also not divided amongst 20 students. It's divided like between 5 and 6 students. So we love small group instruction in kindergarten.
Great. Thank you, Grace, so much. Appreciate telling us about the day and the life of a kindergartner. It is a very busy day from this time that they get there till the time that they go home. I probably can speak for all these kindergarten teachers and for parents of former kindergarten former kindergarten students that have gone through. The first few weeks, those little babies are tired. They are very tired after being there for the entire day. And so you might get them in the car and they like immediately fall asleep. And that's because their little brains are working hard in those first few weeks, just trying to understand how school works all day long. So thank you to our kindergarten teachers for sharing that information. Okay. Do you want me to say?
Yeah, we can
Okay.
go ahead with Robin Trail.
Okay, we are going to come back to our supporting students. Our school counseling, Megan Krukemeyer, is having a few difficulties with her Zoom. So I'm going to skip this particular slide right now and then move forward and then we'll have her, we'll come back to that and share. So actually, I'm just going to move this on to Heather and to talk about our kindergarten assessment. And this is after our kindergartners enroll. So Heather, as the kindergarten grade level chair, do you want to share about what kindergarten assessment looks like for our friends coming?
Absolutely. So when you registered your child for kindergarten this year, you should have received a link from the building secretary with a sign up for kindergarten screening. If you haven't enrolled yet, once that's complete, you will receive that screening link. If you have any problems with the signing up or with enrollment, anything with that process, reach out to our building secretaries. They are phenomenal in problem solving and helping walk you through that process. The kindergarten screenings are conducted by the kindergarten teams at each building. And they take about 15 minutes. What we are screening for, upper and lowercase letter identification, letter sounds, counting. We usually cut them off at 30, but getting to 20 is a great start. Number identification, one-to-one correspondence. So if I say, hand me 5 M&Ms, they're able to count out 5 M&Ms. Fine motor skills. Can they hold a pencil? Can they write a letter? Can they write a number? Are they able to write their first name, uppercase letter, followed by lowercase letters? Things like that. Also, interaction with a book. Can they handle the book? Can they tell a story with the pictures? Are they conventionally reading? Again, the screening process really is, it's important because it really guides us in our classroom placement decisions. It also gives us teachers a snapshot of where your child is in their skills at that present moment. So there's no need to study for these screenings. We just want to know where your kid is. And then that helps us give them targeted support pretty much from when they come in. And it helps us with their placement supports and meeting them where they are at that point in time.
Awesome. Okay, so I have Megan. Megan was able, we just joined us up here.
Yes.
So we didn't have to worry about it. So I'm going to go back to our student support slides. Supporting students in school counseling. So I'm going to let her share about this.
Hi, thank you for being so flexible. So earlier in the presentation, Megan talked about making sure that kids felt safe at school. And then Ashley mentioned about the community time building. So our school counseling team has a lot to do with all of that. We have 2 counselors or social workers at every single elementary building. During the SEL time that's shared with the specials for library, your student will have the opportunity to learn from the SEL counselor about different topics. Every single week they'll go through that. And so that's a great support for them. We also have the opportunity to work with Community Health Network. They have a school-based mental health providers in every building as well. We have school psychs, the school nurses. We have lots of kids that like to come down and talk about an ice pack or a Band-Aid. So the school nurses are great. The school psychs are great. So if you ever notice that your kids need additional supports, these people are all in the building and we all work very closely together. So please know that you can reach out to any one of us. We also have school resource officers and school safety officers as well. And then, of course, our most favorite person, or not person, but
Popular.
friend.
He's
Yes.
very popular.
The friend that everyone loves is Hopper, our facility dog. So we all work super close together. So if you ever need anything, feel free to reach out to any of us.
Perfect. Okay. And then I think, Megan, actually, you have the next slide
perfect.
as well, because we had kindergarten assessment. And so I think this one is yours.
Yes, it sure is.
Yeah.
So, excuse me, the parent input survey is sent after the initial kindergarten assessment, and this provides teachers with information to add additional supports and have a little bit of a picture into what your kiddo is like in different situations. So there are 5 questions that are asked, and they are things like, how often is your child able to control their emotions? Are they do they have empathy when they are talking to another friend? What happens if something is hard for them? Are they able to keep trying again? So things like that helps the teachers understand how to work with your kid to help them be super successful.
Yeah. Perfect. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Okay. Now we want to talk about just some kindergarten readiness things. So what are some good to know things and some nice to know? So again, I'm going to jump back to Heather and any other elementary teacher that kind of, or yeah, one of the other 5 besides Heather, if they want to jump in as well. We've kind of listed some good to knows and some nice to knows on these particular screens to help you kind of know, like, how can I start preparing for that kindergarten in the fall so that my child is ready to go? So Heather, I'll let you kind of kick off, and if you want to open it up to your colleagues, that's great.
Yeah, K-team, if you want to unmute, we can just kind of do this together. Again, these are good to knows. Self-regulation strategies, using the restroom, washing hands, drying hands, fine motor skills, using that pencil grip, being able to recognize your name and 8 or more colors, sorting and classifying, for example, sorting by shape, color, size, category, being able to take responsibility for their personal belongings. They will have folders, their backpacks, their lunch boxes, pencil pouches or art boxes that they will have to maintain in their area. Being able to care for those items is wonderful because they use them throughout the whole year. The dressing independently, the zipping, buttoning, snapping, tying shoes, things of that nature are helpful. multi-step directions, and then cooperative play and problem solving with peers. I think that's probably the biggest one that we do, work with a lot in kindergarten. Being able to, we use it as teaching opportunities throughout the day. Actually, all of these items, but mostly the cooperative play and the problem solving. It's an adjustment for our littles to come into a larger class like this. And I think we spend a lot of time on that very last one. So just the behavior piece of it is just as much as the academic. And it's really great to see our mini lessons come into play when they're problem solving on the playground independently with us, without us having to interfere.
If I can add one, I kind of meant to add it when I was talking about technology, but if just being able to make sure that when the specified activity, whatever it is with the iPad is done, that the iPad is able to be put away without getting upset. That is one of the biggest problems we have in the classroom. It feels like just as technology has been more and more prevalent, and they just have a real hard time letting go. So if that is something that they kind of have some free reign right now in your household, you might consider this summer just doing some opportunities where, you know, you get to use it for 15 minutes and then it comes away. It's just really helpful for their little bodies to just be able to regulate themselves when they have to do that.
Great.
Another one I thought of as well, when we're talking about lunch, especially if they bring their lunch, just and making sure that they're familiar opening things that would be in their lunchbox. Obviously, there are cafeteria workers that can help, but there are a lot of kindergarten bodies in the cafeteria at the same time, and there's not by any means a one-to-one or even small ratio of kids to helpers. So sometimes they do have to wait for quite a while. So if they are going to pack their lunch, it's really helpful to have it in containers that they know how to open, or bags that they know how to open, so they can at least try it and get going on their food to eat. Obviously, if they do need help, there are assistants that will be there to help, but getting familiar with that is always good too.
Excellent. And then, whoops, and then these are some nice to knows. Does anybody want to share on these nice to knows?
Yeah, so printing first and last name with your starting with an uppercase letter followed by lowercase. By the end of the year, we like them to be printing first, last name. Recognizing and naming all the upper and lowercase letters and having some awareness of those sounds. Again, with the screening, that's what we're looking at. Where is your child at this time? And again, that's going to guide our class placements and instruction from day one. Counting and recognizing numbers, I would say at least to 10, but up to 20 is wonderful. Understanding patterns. Again, I'll go back to M&Ms because I like chocolate, but even just sorting your M&Ms by red blue or red blue, or just having fun with your fruit snacks or your M&Ms is always kind of a fun way to do it. And then again, that one-to-one correspondence when counting. All of these things are things that we address in the classroom. And again, if your child has that down, then we will move on to the next level with them. If they need assistance in learning these things, then that's what we will provide them with as well.
Great, thank you. We are now going to move on to our principals are going to share about getting to and from school. So they have the next couple of slides. I'm going to let them talk about some of the daily things that happen at our school as a whole building.
Hi, this is Mr. Steiner from North Grove, and I'm going to talk about these couple things real quick. So to think about, we are just a few months away from your child's first day of elementary school, which is super exciting. And we always say after the first day of school, if we got them to school, we got them fed, and we got them home, it was a very successful day, because those are definitely the most important things for those first few days. So we're first going to talk about arrival and departure, and then we'll move on to some of those other pieces in just a moment. So all students are obviously going to come to school, and there'll be a handful of them who are a part of a daycare program, whether it's at the school, or it is somewhere else where a daycare bus is bringing them back and forth, and that's how they get to school. But most children are either going to ride the Center Grove school bus, or their parents are going to take them back and forth from school. So I'm going to talk about both of those real quick. So first off, riding the bus. So like on the kindergarten open house night, I know that big yellow bus outside was probably the biggest tourist attraction to those kids, because they're excited about having that first opportunity to get on that bus that they've seen go by their house so many times. Any student who lives within the boundaries of the school they are attending is welcome to use that bus. So I work at North Grove, so as long as you attend or live within North Grove's boundaries, yes, we have a bus stop planned for your child for next school year. There are a few kids that maybe they live somewhere else, but they've asked to transfer into our schools, and in those cases, their parents would be driving them back and forth. Bus information. So bus numbers, bus routes, even the bus driver who will be, you'll learn that more in July. You'll receive a communication through email or through Parent Square letting you know that those are live in Skyward, which is our database where we keep all of information about students, which is the same place that you applied for your child to enroll for kindergarten. That will house your bus transportation information, and it'll have that. It will, along with having the bus number and so in the location, it will even give approximate times with a few minute wiggle room of when the bus will be picking up in the morning, and also at the arrival time at the end of the school day. I will share, give us grace those first few days. Trying to figure out who's really at the bus stop, who's not. I promise you, it's not going to be that time probably. So you want to be out there a little early, and definitely at the end of the day, no concern. Don't be too concerned if the bus arrives a little bit later than you thought. Do also know with our kindergarten students, we do require a parent or an adult at the bus stop to let them out at the end of the day. So make sure if your child is coming home that you have it on your schedule to also meet them at the bus stop each day. Now, car riders. So all our schools have a car rider line. Once again, I'm going to ask for grace those first few days. I will tell you that is, as much as you think the bus might be a little bit off, the car rider lines are very long and slow the first couple of days. So, but we all have a car rider line, and of course it's stacked, and we send out maps and directions to our families of how it works and so forth. And that information will come out this summer. Also, every school has, in some way, shape, or form, has some type of car rider pass or tag that families sign up for. That if they're using car transportation every single day, they show their ID to get this car tag, and then it's hung in the windows of the car. And that way, and usually we have that same number with the same type of tag attached to backpacks, and we're able to match up kids pretty quickly. So that's very important that you sign up for that, so that we can make it efficient, but we want to make sure for safety and security that we are sending your children with the right person. I will share that. So a lot of families that have their children ride the bus still prefer to drive their kid the first day of school. And I will share, I think it's actually much better on day one to start that day routine. So if they're going to be a bus rider, start having them ride the bus on the very first day. There's a couple benefits to that. First off, it helps them recognize who their bus driver is, the routine, learning how to sit down on the bus when they are learning all that in those first few days. Also, the bus driver, they have bus stops for all these kids, but eventually if students aren't ever showing up, they'll still stop at the stop, but if no one's there, they're probably not going to be spending as much time there. They're going to move on to the next one. So they want to know your child is riding the bus every single day. And it starts developing that relationship. The other thing being is, as I was talking about how bus transportation and car transportation are running a little slow. I promise you the bus transportation is still probably going to be more on time than what that car line is. The car line is so dependent on, well, basically one car for every single family going through there that they're trying to learn routines. So it goes a lot slower. So it'll be very, very helpful. So yes, if a child is a bus rider, I highly recommend from day one having them ride the bus. Um, there's one other thing on here called Pickup Patrol, and that's a separate app we have that it does a couple of things, and every family has an account. First of all, although this isn't about transportation, but that's how you report an absence. So you will report it when your child's going to be late to school or your child's sick from school, whatever it might be. You actually report the absence through Pickup Patrol. And it's an app that alerts the office and alerts the teacher. And so it's able to get that signal to all the correct people. The other thing being that Pickup Patrol also has a default setting for what your child's transportation is at the end of the school day. And our teachers follow whatever Pickup Patrol says. So if you one day need to pick up your child through the car line instead, it does have to be changed in there. Because ultimately we know 5-year-olds can overhear a conversation and think one thing versus the other and want to tell their teacher, oh, I'm getting picked up today. And sometimes they're correct, sometimes they're incorrect, but ultimately we want to assure that the adult has properly communicated so that we can safely get your child home at the end of the school day. So every family will receive will have a Pickup Patrol account, and the secretaries at the schools start sending that communication to sign up if you don't already have an account. Many of you already have one because you already have families, already have children here at your schools.
Megan,
Next.
can I pop in real quick if that's okay?
Yeah.
Sure.
There's a question on here about walking to school at Sugar Grove. So I just thought I'd speak real quick to that since Mr. Steiner talked about Pickup Patrol. We do have kids that walk home from Sugar Grove. We've got a couple of different neighborhoods that are right near there. That is one of the options that you can choose, bus riding, car riding, daycare bus, Honey Grove, which is our after school care, and then walking. We do have a teacher that will man that crosswalk to make sure that the kids get across the access road safely. And then the other part of that question was working it out so the kids can ride the bus. Sometimes when they need to, that all filters through Pickup Patrol. Like Mr. Steiner said, there's a default setting. So that would be what their everyday plan is, what their normal plan is, but there's always a chance to update that and say, hey, on Monday, Tuesdays, and Wednesdays, they're going to be a walker. And on Thursdays and Fridays, they're going to ride the bus. And that is able to all be orchestrated through Pickup Patrol. It is just, excuse me, like Mr. Steiner said, super important that that gets logged correctly into Pickup Patrol because like he said, we have to follow what's on there. So even if you verbally tell us or email us and say, hey, 3 days of the week, they're going to ride the bus. If it's not on Pickup Patrol, we can't send them that way. We have to follow what it says on there. So all of that is changed and updated and edited through Pickup Patrol, but there are options to switch. It doesn't have to be every day of the week.
Yeah, and
So,
there's only a couple of schools that allow walkers, and they must live in that neighborhood that is adjacent through a walking path, that they're not taking roads to get there. So I know Sugar Grove has at least one neighborhood that connects to the west side of the school. And I think Center Grove Elementary also has a neighborhood that connects through a walking path. But I don't, unless I'm incorrect, I don't think any of the other schools have that to where they can get direct without taking a road to get there. So I know like at North Grove, we're right on Fairview Road and there's not a direct pathway. So we do not have any students that walk to school because it's not a safe option.
Hey, Ron, do you also want to mention Pickup Patrol? Or no, I'm sorry, not Pickup Patrol. Here Comes the Bus for tracking your school bus.
Also, there's another app that the transportation department will send out that's called Here Comes the Bus, and it lets you track where the bus is at that time. So whatever bus your child is assigned to, so I'll just make up a number, let's say it's bus number 75, that you'll be able to track to see where that bus is at that time.
Perfect. Thank you, Mr. Steiner. We did have one question about when is a good time to sign up for the pass to get the car rider. That is at the individual schools when you are coming back, like when you're arriving back to school. And Ron, do you guys, Mr. Kelly and Mr. Steiner, do you guys have certain times that you guys do that?
We start doing that typically mid to late July, and we'll send communications out specifically about that. And usually we'll even have some designated times to really get a lot of families filtering through. Great.
Okay, great. We are going to keep moving. And talk about the first day of school. So what does that look like for your kindergartner on the very first day of school?
All right. So the first thing is we need to get them in the building, right?
Yeah.
So whether they're in the car line or the bus pickup lot, we overstaff those areas to try to help our children get to the right place. So all of our buses arrive at the school, and we send a lot of staff members out there with class rosters and so forth, and are helping them and we're taking them in lines. So kindergartners will be collecting the students in lines and walking them into the school and getting them to their classrooms. Fortunately for our school, the door that we'll bring them through is right next to those kindergarten doors. So we'll have adults helping with that. And really, we do that every day for a few days, and we do just a little bit less and a little bit less. And eventually, like a lot of the kids on day 2 immediately know where to go. A few of them remember from the night before from Meet the Teacher night, they even remember. But ultimately, we have class rosters to try to help them because they might not remember their teacher's name either. So we're helping them get there. Even on a normal school day, we release the kindergartners off the bus, usually kindergarten and first grade. Just as recent as today, we released them before we release the older kids. We would like that outside sidewalk area to let the younger kids get off and get into the building before we start releasing the older kids also. So, and then like talking about getting to school, then getting them fed. So walking through the cafeteria lines. I want to reiterate what Mrs. Gardner and so many of our other kindergarten teachers said a moment ago, that practicing opening those small bags of snack-sized bags of goldfish or whatever it is will really be helpful. Are there adults who will help them with those things? Absolutely. But when there's 100+ kids eating at the same time, obviously they have to wait their turn for that. So anything you can do to help them with that would be excellent. But that first day, at least at our school, I know our kindergarten teachers actually, before lunch ever happens, does a practice round of just pretending to go through the cafeteria line. But then after that, when it's actually lunchtime, once again, we're overstaffing that cafeteria to help kids. Just the idea of carrying a tray and picking items, getting select their options there rather than having someone already just deciding what they're going to eat, where they get a choice of what fruit and what vegetable. So we're trying to help them with that, and also the routines of being able to sit down and where to go to. So lots of supports. There's always lots of supports, but definitely those first few days, there's a lot of extra help in there to assure that students are able to successfully have lunchtime and so forth. And then, of course, because most of them also go to recess right after lunch, they definitely want to get to that too.
Okay, perfect.
At the end of the day, the school bus was going to say, so I was moving back to, so now we're going to get them home. Once again, we're getting those kids out there a little bit early. We usually have some type of way we've tagged their backpacks to also help. So even if you're an adult who doesn't work in their kindergarten classroom, so the kindergarten teachers are actually walking them in order, putting them on the right bus. But if some reason a kid gets out of line, we've tagged their backpacks or something, or have some type of wristband on them that, let's say it's Mr. Signer, myself sees them, I can right away identify who that child is and make sure they get to the correct bus. Doesn't happen much, but just we have those extra layers in place to help with that. And as far as school supplies, right now, I wouldn't worry too much about that, but you'll receive communication in July when those are available online. So then you'll know what to purchase for the coming school year.
Great, thank you. So how do you stay informed?
Well, Stacey Conrad is going to share with us. So we have a lot of different apps and things that can probably seem overwhelming for a kindergarten family, but we do a lot of communication at the beginning of the year, and we have a lot of information on our school website. So if you have not been to our school website, I recommend going there. We have several kindergarten pages that explain a lot of information. We also have some parent resource pages, but just kind of your top line information. You heard them mention Canvas, which is not used a lot by the elementaries. It used some, but Skyward is an app that you will use throughout your child's career at Center Grove, and it has their grades, forms, and back to school information that the principals will link in their newsletters at the beginning of the year. And then also your contact information. So when you register, that information is pulled into Skyward, and your school secretary is the one who is checking those off, making sure you live in the right neighborhood, assigned to the school. and compiling all of that information. And so that is all put into Skyward. That contact information is then pulled into Parent Square, and that is where your teachers can communicate with you, principals, whoever needs to send things out. And Parent Square is something we went to in the last 3 or 4 years. It's a very robust platform. You can choose to get a text message if you would rather just have an app notification. If you are an email person and want emails, you can choose that. You can choose only one or all of them. And that's also what we utilize to communicate by phone when there's something urgent happening, like a water main break and kids have to be dismissed or something along that line. So Parent Square is valuable. There's lots of information on our website about how to get that set up. As of right now, if your student is not actively enrolled because they're an incoming student, you won't have access to your Parent Square. However, we have put in guest accounts. Some of you may have already received some emails from us. So that way we can communicate with you before early July when everybody is rolled over and all those new students are put into Parent Square. The other thing we have when you get started is Peach Jar. And if you're like me, you remember getting those flyers that get stuffed in the back of the backpack or book bag and you don't look at them again. We've all gone digital with our flyers. And so those kinds of things will be available. They're emailed to you a couple times a week. Newsletters, we send out newsletters from our principals. They do it weekly. Great information. A lot of our teachers send newsletters out on a daily or weekly basis, which is amazing. And lots of information coming through. The nice thing about the Parent Square that I mentioned is you can go back and find those emails later in case you are looking for something. And I feel like when I search through my emails, I get stuff from like 2017 and it's never something that I need right now. So that helps you find everything in one nice spot. And of course, you can always get in touch with our social media. So all of our platforms are listed down there. Our schools also, all of them have Facebook and Instagram accounts, so you can look them up and follow them. They are linked on the top left side of our website as well, if you're trying to find out which one is North Grove Elementary or Pleasant Grove or whatever your school is going to be. Maybe.
Okay, great. Thank you so much. Okay, so we have just a couple more minutes, just a couple of slides here. We have getting involved. There's some ways that you can get involved at each of your schools, and I think Mr. Kelly is going to share about that.
Yes, hi, I'm Joe Kelly. I am the principal of Pleasant Grove Elementary School. Thank you for being on. One thing that we want to encourage parents to get involved in the school as much as possible. It sends a positive message to your children that it's a partnership, and we have such great parent involvement. Like to get you guys involved at Pleasant Grove, and I'm sure just at every school we have a parent-teacher organization. We meet once a month. I think most schools will meet once a month. And we just there's no membership fee at our school. It's just a matter of like an opportunity for you guys to get into the school, get firsthand information, and you know what, build a network of adults within the community that you can rely upon. There are room parent opportunities, and in order to be a room parent, what is a room parent? A room parent's where you would coordinate with a teacher and set up an opportunity to possibly help out in the classroom. And we do have room parents that are that take a lead and support. And what they do is they share information with all the other parents in class. So if they were going to do a fall party, they might reach out to other parents in the classroom to see if they'd like to help out. In order to help out within the school, we do require that all volunteers have a background check. Background checks are something that's required for field trips. We have field day coming up, and we want to make sure all the people that are there should be there. It is the background checks last for 2 years. They cost just under $13 to get done. Like I say, it goes across schools. So if you have a background check for middle school, it's good for the elementary and vice versa through all the Center Grove schools. We want to encourage parents to get involved as much as possible. I know at the elementary, we have so many different activities that are going on. We may have our book fair going on. We may have trunk or treat where we're trying to put together some fun activities for kids. And we want to make sure, again, all people that are helping out should be allowed to help out in our schools.
Great. Thank you so much. We have one final slide that we're going to come back to Megan, that she's going to share about just some ways to set your child up for success as they start kindergarten.
Yeah, so the first couple days, they're going to come home and they're going to be very, very tired because they are going to be exposed to so many different things. They're going to be working hard, having lots of fun, being with their friends, but nevertheless, it's going to be really important that you set a great routine from the jump, whatever that may look like. Go through backpack, everyone together, make sure eat dinner. We all are doing a million things at night, so let them still be a kid and be involved with outside things, play with neighbors if you can. Getting a good night's sleep is very, very important because, like we've been telling through this entire presentation, there is not 1 minute in the day that they're not doing something great. So making sure that they get the right amount of sleep and then getting a great breakfast in the morning, really will set them up for all the success that they can get during the day. Homework, it's great to sit down with them and understand what's going on. I know in our house, my husband likes to help with homework more because he has more patience than I do sometimes. So just whoever that is in your house, an older sibling, just make sure that you're fostering that learning outside of school as well so that you're involved with them.
Great. Thank you so much. So that's been a lot of information that we've given to you. And we want to just make sure. So if you have not enrolled yet, we want to make sure that if you are ready to enroll, that these are some of the documents that we need for you to have. You will need your child's birth certificate, the current immunization records for your child, proof of residency. That can look like a mortgage bill, a lease bill, a utility bill, but there has to be that proof of residency and it does need to be current. So please make sure that if you are bringing that proof of residency, that it is a current proof of a bill. And then you can either scan the QR code or you can go to our website that we have listed there. Once you have enrolled, you will receive a confirmation email when it's been received, and there'll be an invitation for you to attend that kindergarten assessment, which is going to be here in late spring, where you'll be able to finish and complete that your child's enrollment that Heather talked about, where they'll bring your child in for that quick assessment. There have been some questions up in the chat, and it appears that our kindergarten teachers were doing an amazing job because they were answering some of those as they were coming in. So I am super grateful for that. Stacy, were there any that were not necessarily answered?
I think we did cover the pass for the car riders, when to get those, some of those details.
We did that.
A lot of that is going to come out in the newsletters.
Okay.
Our principals do a great job with their back to school newsletters of just outlining all of the different things that you're going to need and all of the dates. I know some other people were also asking about if we're going to get the presentation. Yes, we will post that on our website. centergrove.k12.in.us/kindergarten. We will put it on there along with all of the slides for you.
Okay, perfect. Is there any that we missed that you think that we need to?
I don't think there's anything. No,
okay.
We have a bunch of them, but yeah, a lot of it is on our website.
Okay.
And I think we answered a lot of them.
Okay, perfect. We are super grateful for you attending and hope that this helped give you a lot of clarity to any questions that you had. We thank you for joining us. Thank you to our kindergarten teachers, to our school counselors, to our principals, to Stacy for all being here tonight. I'm super grateful for you guys joining us and providing all of your great insight. Thank you again. So we hope you have a great night and we look forward to seeing you guys in the fall. Have a great night.